in the country. Obama's looking to spend $188 million to educate the cops. He wants to set up a task force to study how to improve community policing with an eye toward building trust between law enforcement and communities of color. Again, we're spending $188 million for black people. Okay, now what this is going to happen, that's $188 million that's going to end up going to his friends. Okay, to his friends. He wants to consider imposing tighter controls on the proliferation of military-style weaponry and equipment provided to the police department. Front Page Magazine contributor Daniel Greenfeld says Obama also plans to use the money to host a bunch of conferences featuring civil rights representatives like Mark Morial, president of the National Urban League, Janet Maria, president and CEO of the National Council of La Raza. La Raza, the race. The race. It's a racist organization that thinks Mexicans should have access to America freely. Open borders. The race. He's giving money to a racist organization. Also, Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network, will be getting some of this money. $188 million will be of our taxpayer dollars will be going to the very people that are stirring these people up in Ferguson. So you hit a city, you get them to burn and riot, and taxpayers will give you $188 million to split up. Essentially, he wants the nation's biggest race hustlers and grievous mongers to educate or fine an already well-trained police officers on how to properly deal with minority criminals. Nice, yeah? Nice. Pay the race baiters and train the cops. There was nothing done by the police in Ferguson that wasn't perfectly legal and perfectly righteous. But Obama wants to give him $188 million to his black race-baiting agitators. $188 million that we already don't have because we're $18 trillion in debt. I think we can find something better to spend this money on. Folks, stay with me. We'll be right back.
KCAA. Tom O'Halloran has a not-so-common core spelling lesson for the Obama administration. Ready? There is no K in America.
There's kids that can't pray in school, $100 tanks of gas. I can tell you right now, this country ain't supposed to be like that. No, that ain't my America. That ain't this country's roots. You wanna slam, hold on to Sam, but I ain't letting you. Yeah, I'm mad as hell, and you know I still bleed red, white, and blue. They ain't us, and that ain't my America. Oh no, that ain't my America. No, 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 no. That ain't my America.
Welcome back. This is the fastest hour on radio. This is the Tuesday night edition of the Patriot Radio Show, and I'm your host, Tom O'Halloran. I'd like to invite you to join me tomorrow for the Wednesday night edition, and then Thursday I'll be on War Radio. That's WAAR Radio. That's We Are America. Look it up on Google or go to Patriot-Radio-Show.com and click on the big red Thursday show banner. And then Friday I'll be right back here doing Jihad on America. All shows 4 days a week, soon to be 5 days a week, all at the very same time, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, we're going to wrap the show up still talking about Ferguson a little bit obliquely. What happened in Ferguson has been justified. The grand jury, not one man, not the prosecutor, he didn't want to take the heat of releasing somebody and have the fury that the prosecutor had down in Florida when he refused to prosecute. He turned all the evidence over to the grand jury, and they combed through it with a fine-tooth comb. All the evidence verified and validated everything the police officer said and negated everything that Michael Brown's friends were saying, such as his arms were being raised, he was surrendering. No, his head was down and he was charging. And even police officers have a right to defend themselves. Even police officers. Now, it's not a steadfast rule. You would think it was. But unfortunately, with Obama as commander-in-chief, our military is continually being harassed and sentenced, prosecuted, continually for trying to defend themselves. The greatest crime is trying to stay alive. And this is extremely shameful for Obama, for America. Such as former Army Ranger Lieutenant Michael Brenna. He shot and killed an unarmed Iraqi terrorist, Ali Mansour, in 2008. He too claimed to have been acting in self-defense, but he was tried in a military court. The physical evidence supported Brenna's version of the events, but he was convicted and originally sentenced to 25 years for murder, even though the evidence verified what he said. Sentenced to 25 years for murder. When the highest military appeals court confirmed the conviction, it determined that in the circumstances, Brenna had the right, he had lost the right to act in self-defense, and he did not gain it. That is shameful. Now, every appeals court hearing tells us that the justice would really have been better served if he had been killed in the altercation. Earlier this year, an act of clemency released Brenna from military prison at Leavenworth, but not before he served 5 years in prison behind bars. For what? For surviving. The legal travesty of the Brenna case is unlikely to have occurred in a civilian court, which is, in one extent, it's a reason why such cases should be removed from military jurisdiction. There are other cases. More soldiers, U.S. soldiers, remain behind bars whose main crime seems to have been that they wanted to stay alive. Sergeant Derek Miller, whose fatal struggle with an Afghan inside the defense perimeter over Miller's own gun, earned Miller a premeditated murder conviction. Somebody's trying to take your gun, and in the struggle, you kill him. And they're going to call that premeditated murder. He got sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for at least 10 years. By the way, he's an African-American who fails to rate the president's community of colored concerns. There's also First Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, who's serving a 20-year sentence for 2 murder convictions, having ordered his men to shoot 3 Afghans approaching a checkpoint in Taliban territory. There's Master Sergeant John Hatley, convicted of murders of 4 detainees in Iraq in harrowing conditions. Not only were the bodies never recovered, the deceased were never reported missing. Hatley, however, serving 40 years in Leavenworth. There's PFC Corey Cleggett, got 18 years for following orders to kill from the commanders that are scot-free. They give you the orders to kill. You do. They go free. You go to prison. This is horrid. This is horrid. There's Marine Sergeant Lawrence Hutchins, whose repeated prosecutions amount to a Kafkaesque mental torture. Surely these veterans merit the same clemency that has released thousands of enemy fighters with American blood on their hands. They kill us, we put them in prison, we release them, let them go. The Obama administration has consistently released people from Gitmo, released terrorists from killing Americans, and he releases them, whether they're top generals in the Taliban or just the common terrorist. but our own men who are over there fighting, trying to keep their team members alive, fighting for their own life and for us to keep terrorism off of our shores. And Obama has the rules of engagement narrowed down so tight, if somebody isn't actually holding a gun, you can't shoot them. Did you know that if a terrorist or an enemy combatant, an Afghani or a Iraqi, if they shoot you and then throw their gun down, you can't shoot them. If they step out from behind a rock and shoot at you and jump behind the rock, you can't shoot them because you don't know they haven't dropped their gun. We're sending our boys over on suicide missions, and it's got to stop. Never before have we tied our boys' hands as tightly behind their backs as Obama's doing. And he's killing more of our boys with his stupid rules of engagement, trying to protect the Muslims more than he has our own soldiers. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Of all the reasons to get this man out of office, it's to protect the lives of our sons, our daughters, our husbands, wives, mothers, and fathers. Because he's doing everything he can to ruin America, even if it means killing or imprisoning our soldiers. Oh, gosh. Up next. What have we got here? Oh, this one's a doozy. Los Angeles Unified School District. In California, as most states, the age of consent is 18 years old. An adult can't have sex with anybody under 18, or you suffer statutory rape charges. But a 14-year-old student was having sexual relations with a 28-year-old teacher by the name of Elkis Hamida. Now, he was convicted in 2011 with criminal charges of lewd acts against a child. There's the word, a child. And sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now, this rape went on for about 6 months. And you know as well as I do, when you get a predator like this, they say things like, if you ever tell anybody, I'll kill your mother. So we can't blame a 14-year-old child for not reporting this happening. They'll ridicule you. If they ridicule you, say, nobody will believe you. I'll kill your parents. Well, the girl's family sued the Unified School District of L.A., sued for damages for this girl's psychological care, medical care, and for damages for allowing the school allowing this to happen. The school district claimed that the 14-year-old consented to the sexual acts. And the court found in favor of the school district. So forget what the law says. The school district is denying the claims their own self. So we've got a sensible person in California, a rare occasion, but there's a Assemblywoman Nora Campos that's introducing a bill on Monday to declare unequivocally that the age of consent is nothing less than 18 years, regardless of what anybody says. Folks, that's it for tonight. God bless you and yours. This is Tom O'Halloran. I'm out.